Welcome to Storytellers with a Message. This is where I share real stories about real people. I'm Lori Grant, and I'm committed to capturing the moments and lessons that shape our lives. Together, we'll explore stories that teach, inspire, and remind us that everyone has a story worth telling. My best friend and I finally got to take our trip to Nashville. We had been planning the trip for a few years, but it kept getting postponed. We were so excited to get the chance to visit Music City, finally. However, the pandemic was still alive and well, and traveling was a little bit scary for us. Tina flew south from Virginia, and I flew east from California. We set it up so we would both arrive at the airport about the same time. I will admit, Nashville wasn't quite what I expected. When I thought of Nashville, I thought it would be all cowboy boots and country music. It wasn't like that at all. There were a ton of bars, all had music, but not much of it was country music. It was all over the board and a little overwhelming. So many people. And loud. Oh my gosh, it was so loud. Each sound system trying to overpower the next. Little did we know that Nashville currently was rated one of the top 5 bachelorette destinations. We might have stayed downtown for only a night or two had we known. The city was like a huge party, kind of a crazy place. I fondly named downtown Woo-Town because that's all we heard all night. It was coming from the rolling parties throughout the city. The chaos started about 1 p.m. and went to about 3 a.m. Call me a party pooper, but a little bit of that went a long way. One evening, we walked up to the pedestrian bridge. It looks over the city. Our thought was to get away from the noise and shoot some cool pictures. What I remember most about the bridge was the city's roar below us. It had all the typical sounds you would expect. Sirens, motorcycles, car horns, and crowd voices. But added to it all was this bombardment of music filling the air. Everything you can imagine. I had never experienced anything like it. One of the days, we rented a car so we could get out of the city and see some of the countryside. We went to downtown Franklin, which was a beautiful little town. We wandered around the shops and stopped at Puckett's for some of their famous homemade Southern country fried chicken. We had a great day. I suggested we drive over to the Grand Ole Opry and check it out on the way home. We had just enough time to see the place and take some pictures before we needed to get our rental car back. Wouldn't you know, we ended up getting there just as they were selling tickets for the last show of the evening. We worried about that rental car for about a minute. We bought our tickets, grabbed a couple of hot dogs, and found our seats. It was a great show. I really wanted to do this, and it was great to get it checked off my to-do list. We only thought about the car again as we walked to the parking lot. We hoped the rental agency didn't have a tracker on that vehicle and had towed it when we were in the show. But the car was there, and we stayed out of trouble. With my luck, it could have gone either way. One evening, near the end of our trip, we had gone downstairs for dinner and stayed a while to listen to the music. It was late, but not super late when we called it a night. We were sitting in our room chatting when a couple of lights from the hotel across the street caught our attention. It looked like the lights of 2 cell phones in a hotel room directly across the street from us. We watched for a few minutes. We weren't sure exactly what to think. Perhaps these people were signaling for help? And why was the room behind them dark? We quickly realized they weren't in trouble at all. They were simply saying hello to the windows across on the other side of the street. Their curtains were open, but there was absolutely no other light in their room. It was kind of fascinating as the lights danced across the window. We assumed someone on our side was doing the same thing back to them. After a few minutes, Tina said, "Let's get our cell phones, turn off our light, and signal back to them." Usually, I'm the one that comes up with the unusual ideas, so I'm not sure why I hesitated. At first, I felt like I was crashing someone's party. But it didn't take much convincing on Tina's part to get me to participate. So here we were, Tina and I standing at this window of our dark hotel room with our cell phone lights on. At first, we meekly waved them back and forth, slowly to the left and slowly back to the right. At some point, we realized the lights across the street were mirroring what we were doing. I think that was the point when my awkward self-consciousness faded away. I remember saying to Tina, "Are they copying us?" They were. They had seen us and were engaging with us. Left to right, right to left, up, down, circles, and patterns. It was creativity with lights. We would lead and they would follow. Then they would lead and we would follow. It was mesmerizing. The longer we stood there, the more creative both sides of the street became. This went on for quite a while until Tina and I were eventually ready to just pull the curtains and get some sleep. Later, I realized I still felt this odd connection to whomever might be behind those lights. We had no idea who they were, what they looked like, what country they were from, or if we even spoke the same language. They could have been sitting next to us at dinner or woohooing on one of the party buses all day. We would never know. But the connection, that was genuine. We shared a moment. It was a perfect display of silent equality and creativity. Here we were, in the crazy world of downtown Nashville, with all its noise and lights and over-the-top stimulation. Who could have ever guessed one of my favorite moments of the trip would be the anonymous lights from across the street? So here's my message. Connection doesn't always require conversation, or shared history, or even knowing who's on the other side. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing to participate, choosing to respond, choosing to play, or choosing to acknowledge another human being just because you can. Moments like that remind me how easy it is to bridge the space between us when we're willing to try. The world gives us plenty of reasons to stay separate, but it only takes one small yes to break through all of that. In the end, connection doesn't have to be big or loud to matter. Sometimes it's the quietest gestures that are the ones that bring us the closest together. This has been Storytellers with a Message. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the subscribe button and leave a review on your favorite podcast app. It truly helps others find the podcast. And if you have a story to tell, I love to hear from you. You can email me at storytellerswithamessage@gmail.com. To explore my children's books or learn more about my work, visit www.loriDgrant.com. Until next time, I'm Lori, wishing you joy and peace.